Hello and welcome to Mixing a Skin Tone. My name is Eric, and today we're going to be talking about mixing a skin tone with a limited palette. The paint colors that I have here today are a white. I'm using titanium white, but you can use a flake white or whatever you have. I have a cadmium yellow. I have an Alizarin Crimson. I have a raw umber. And I have an ultramarine. So just 5 tones, colors that you should all have. Starting out, I'm going to try and find the best way of mixing a fairly muted color, like the skin tone of my hand, from very bold tones. I have obviously very synthetic tones in front of me, and the most difficult thing is trying to get those neutralized. So I'm going to try and match to my hand. You can match to your hand as well and find a base color and then build from there pretty easily. So when I look at my hand, it's kind of not close to any of these, but I'd say that it's probably somewhere between the crimson and the yellow, sort of a peachish, orangish yellow. So I'm going to start just by grabbing a little bit of my cadmium yellow, a little bit of my Alizarin Crimson, mixing that in. Okay, that's way dark, very orange. I want to go a little bit more yellow. When in doubt, add minimal amounts of that crimson. That overpowered my color pretty quickly, but that's all right. So still very yellow. We're going to try and neutralize with a little bit of our raw umber here. And man, that went green quick. Okay, so we're still looking. Still way off. So I think we're going to add a little bit more red. I think it lost its warmth a little bit. Maybe even a little bit more. That umber's in there. It's fighting that crimson. All right, it's getting closer, but it's still very dark. So I'm going to add some white now. Don't add white too early. You do want to get a good mixture before you add too much white. And start to neutralize that, that value as well. Okay, let's see. Getting closer. Still very yellow, heading toward the orange. So I'm going to get a little bit more of that red as well. Keep working in. The good thing about the skin tone, depending on how many different people you're painting and complexions and whatnot, is once you have it, it's pretty easy to build from it into your darker values and lighter values just by adding a few different tones once you get it. But finding that base color is what we're looking for. So still very orange. It also has quite a bit of chroma still within it, and I need to try and diminish that chroma by doing a little bit of color theory. So I've been doing mostly yellow and red, and then a little bit of brown to diminish, and white. We're going to pull a little bit of the ultramarine into it as well. Just the littlest bit, and it might make it very green. If it does, that's okay. Yeah, we want a little green there. We're going to pull some more red into it. The more you do this, the more it will neutralize. Get that warmth back into it with that red. There we go, it's almost an earth tone now. Definitely still to yellow, we're going to do a little bit of white and a little bit more red. All right, that helped quite a bit. Addition of white and red. I'm getting closer. Still a little bit yellow. Definitely still need some more red. Maybe a little bit more brown to neutralize it well. That first mixture might take a little while, adding back and forth, trying to find the warmth in the tone, but still trying to neutralize so that it's not just bright, vivid color, because obviously a skin tone is not. Yeah, getting closer. Getting a little bit more white, a little bit more red. That blue really neutralized that red quite a bit. Pulled it over to that green quadrant. Really trying to bring that warmth back into it. Sort of neutralized out. Okay, so we're getting closer. Remember that acrylic paint dries a little bit darker. So as far as the skin tone, it's not bad. Maybe just a little bit more red. Then we're going to talk about one more way of neutralizing tone through mixing a black. Maybe a little bit more white for this first tone. Still just a little bit dark. There we go, now we're getting close. Still has that warmth. Yeah, we're getting closer and closer. So this is a decent start for skin tone. Once again, pulled in through basic colors. If you have a darker complexion, you're going to pull more umber and neutralizing blue. If you have a lighter complexion, you're going to pull more white. What I am going to do is take this, set that aside because that's nice, and then add a little bit of more white to this one to create a pretty quick tint. Maybe even a little bit more. So now I have two values here, and this is muted out quite a bit. It's getting even closer. But it's good to have more than one value of your skin tone. Right. So one final thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to neutralize even further, because the chroma of this might still be a little bit dramatic. I'm going to mix a quick black with my Umber and my Ultramarine. Doesn't have to be a perfect mixture, but you want it to be fairly neutral, not too far blue or too far to that Umber side. Okay, so we have the black mixture. Now you can add a little bit of white and find a nice gray value as well. And sometimes the best thing to do is add a little bit of that chromatic black into your mixtures. I started pulling a little bit of paint here, again with the skin tone. I got a little of that gray value right into it. It's going to really help neutralize the brightness of that tone. And as I'm mixing, I can continue to add more white, which is going to lighten that value. and create a nice sort of value shift there for you, depending on how you're neutralizing. So, starting with sort of a mixture of our Cad Yellow and our Alizarin Crimson, getting a mixture of that sort of orange mixture, adding a little bit of brown to neutralize, adding a little bit of white to sort of pale it out. I added a little bit of ultramarine to reduce some of the chroma of that color. Then I continued to add back and forth as I kept going back and taking little tests. As we got a little close, we got white there on there, so there's a little light. That's getting pretty close now. If you can see there, yeah, getting pretty close. Not perfect, but once again, we can keep adding, we can keep subtracting, and get closer. Find your mixtures. Get a good base to start from. This is a plenty base to do a painting. This will be plenty of paint for me to finish my entire painting of a figurative piece. And then if I have other tones, I can actually mix just about anything with these tones, as you think about these being our primary colors, red, yellow, blue, and then the white and the umber to help reduce chroma as we're mixing later stages.